So for these next problems, the easiest thing to do is to be looking at a unit circle. I'm going to go back up to the unit circle we did earlier, and I'm going to add radians in for all of these points. So this is 0 radians. This one is 30 degrees, which we know will be pi 6 radians. This top one up here is 60 degrees, so that will be pi thirds radians. And the one in the middle is pi fourths. I can keep going around. I've got pi halves. This one will be 2 pi thirds because it's 1/3 past 1/2. This one will be 3 pi fourths because it's 1/4 past 1/2. And then this one will be 5 pi 6 because it's 1/6 away from pi. I can come down here doing a similar thought process. I get 7 pi 6, 5 pi fourths, and 4 pi thirds. This one will be 5 pi thirds, 7 pi fourths, and 11 pi 6. Okay, so I've got those. Now let's go back to these problems. I want to solve the following trig equations without using a calculator, and here's the key thing, finding all the solutions for the interval 0 to 2 pi. That's going to become very important in just a second. So I know that cosecant of x equals -2 over root 3. Now I'm not as used to thinking in terms of cosecant, so I'm actually going to change this to sine of x equals -√3 over 2. We know they're the same because sine and cosecant are reciprocals of each other. And here's what this means. This x means what angles give me a y value, and we know it's y value because it's sine. If it was cosine of x, we would say what angles give us an x value of -√3 over 2. So I'm going to look at that unit circle I just drew, and I want to find -√3 over 2 as a y value. So I go back up here. Where is -√3 over 2 the y value? Well, I have one here and one there. Now here's why it says make sure you do all the solutions from 0 to 2 pi, because most of them will have more than one. This one has two different angles that have a y value of -√3 over 2. So I've got 4 pi thirds and 5 pi thirds. So go back down for this one. There's too much. There we go. My answers will be x equals 4 pi thirds and 5 pi thirds, because those were the two x values that gave me the y value, or sorry, the two angles that gave me a y value of -√3 over 2. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to C really quickly. Add 1. I have 2 cosine squared of theta equals 1. Divide by 2. I got cosine squared of theta equals 1/2. Note this right here, cosine squared of theta means cosine of theta squared. So I'm going to square root both sides. So I get cosine of theta equals plus or minus square root of 1 over 2. Don't forget your plus or minus. So I'm going to split these up. I have cosine of theta equals root 1 over 2, which I'm going to simplify. Cosine of theta equals square root of 1 over square root of 2, or 1 over root 2. And cosine of theta equals -1 over root 2. And then I'm going to think the same thing. What angles have an x value, because this is cosine, of positive or -1 over root 2? So what angles, sorry, I keep doing that, have an x value of negative 1 over root 2? So I want positive 1 over root 2 would be these ones. Negative 1 over root 2 would be those ones. So I've got 4 answers to this one. I've got pi fourths, 3 pi fourths, 5 pi fourths, and 7 pi fourths. And I will list all of them. Whoa. Alright guys, the surface is deciding it doesn't want to be friends. So I have theta equals pi fourths, 3 pi fourths, 5 pi fourths, and 7 pi fourths for all of them. Okay, for this last one, I want you to pause and try this one on your own. And I'm going to have you switch this around. Think of it in terms of tangent equals 1 over root 3. And try to think about what angles will give you a tangent of this. When you mark this, go. Okay, if you got a little stuck, here's what we're looking at. I want tangent is 1 over root 3. Now this takes a little bit of experience. I know that the values on the unit circle are 1/2 and root 3 over 2s. I want a root 3 on the bottom, so I know that I can manipulate this 1 over root 3 as 1/2 times 2 over root 3. And that uses the points on the unit circle, because I can do the opposite of flip and multiply and get 1/2 over root 3 over 2. So it's a working backwards thing that kind of takes a little bit of experience with trig in your unit circle. But then you know you're looking for a y value of 1/2 and an x value of root 3 over 2. Then there's another option. I could also look where my y value is negative 1/2 and my x value is negative root 3 over 2. These are my two options that will give me a tangent of 1 over root 3. So pause the video again, knowing that, look at your unit circle and try to find the angles that fit those conditions. Okay, should have gotten 6 and 7 pi 6. Hopefully that's what you got when you looked at your unit circle for those conditions. Hopefully that makes sense. That's the last part of this lesson. See you in 0.5.